Uh-oh.
You had to just take a big old drink of your tea right as we start the podcast.
Christian's already annoyed. Welcome back, everybody, to Remain, Rome, Return, ... I'm already annoyed. Brought to you by none other than our returner, Mike Paine. Dude, what is going on? This is going to be a crazy episode, by the way.
It's going to be unhinged, as they say, as the kids say these days. Or is that too old?
No,
I think that might be even too. They're probably on like ZB Boobop.
That sounds more Jetsons, maybe, but
Yeah.
okay.
That's
we've
the
gone
EDM
full
kids.
circle now. You know, I don't know when the Jetsons is supposed to be like taking place, but 2025 sounds like a number it would take place.
Sure.
Until I can put my car in a suitcase or a briefcase, I don't want to hear about modern. So work on that, everybody.
Yeah, come on, Elon.
Or whoever.
All right, man, we are off to a killer start. Mike Paine is back with us, folks. We could not leave it the way it was last time. There was too much to talk about.
And you guys already complain how long our episodes are. So...
Yeah. So we had to condense it, and now we're doing a part 2. So super, super stoked. I want to kind of get right into it because we already know the crazy Mike Paine is. He's coming back.
Yes.
The reason he's coming back is because first he asked for it, which is surprising. But secondly, he has a lot of stories.
He spent an hour and a half with us and was like, yes, I want more of that in my life.
Yeah. Well, you know, who doesn't want more of me? Let's be honest.
Yeah. And we're psyched to have you back. So what we're going to do, what we want to focus on today is the plethora of stories that you alluded to in our first episode.
Yes.
And so speaking of Christian already being annoyed, I want to go ahead and make this a little bit more interesting. Instead of just like asking you random questions, I want to play a game.
Okay.
And now this is a tweak of a game that I tried before and Christian absolutely hated it. I think the whole problem with the initial game was, from what I understand, is that he was upset because it was called Phrases from a Fedora.
No.
But it wasn't.
No.
What?
Sorry. I interrupted
You didn't like that?
You.
You didn't like that? What?
I
didn't you like?
Already mentally preparing for what you're about to say next. And I just know it's going to be so ridiculous and so wrong.
So he didn't like Phrases from a Fedora. So I decided I want to play this, basically the same game, but I changed the name for him. And so this one is actually going to be called Stories from a Stocking Cap.
Not drama from a derby. I mean,
that's a good one.
You got Mike in on this now? You're not supposed to side with him. You're supposed to be on my side.
I can do my own drama from a derby. Thank you.
I don't need you guys.
To be fair, he makes it all seem like Phrases from a fedora. It very clearly was not a fedora.
It was a hat. It counts.
Horror from a haberdasher. I'm drifting. I'm sorry. Not enough sleep or something. I don't know.
Hash browns from a Denny's. That's what we're gonna play.
This is not even so. Mike, you are probably very well aware of the television show. Whose line is it anyway?
Very.
That makes
so.
Two
What
of
do you think? Phrases from a fedora is the Temu version of.
I don't know.
See, he has no idea either.
Parties from plastic powder. That doesn't sound.
That's
very
really
good.
close.
Scenes from a hat. Damien.
Well, I know Seeds from a Hat. I know that. I thought I was trying to come up with something new and funny, but obviously that didn't work.
This is me being dead serious.
This is how upset and annoyed Christian is that he's not even joking right now. He's just finished.
This is not a bit.
No. Yeah, whose line? Yeah, okay.
So Damien somehow apparently has never seen that show and thought he came up with this idea by himself that he called Phrases from a Fedora.
Well, he didn't honestly just say do a Carol Channing impression. So those of you who know whose line know what I'm talking about.
Something about Wayne Brady, I'm sure. So
Ryan Stiles.
Yes,
keep
Colin
you in
Mockery.
line. Yes. Thank you.
Yes. Speaking of keeping it in line, I would love to get this game started before Christian has any more time to bitch and moan. So what we're going to do, Mike was nice enough to give us just like a premise of a story that he's been dying. If I'm not mistaken, you've been dying to talk about these stories for quite some time.
Yeah, I have a smattering of memories. No, I have a lot of, actually, there's been stuff only my wife knows, and maybe the people that were around or there, which numbers less than the fingers on my hand. So yeah.
Perfect.
And there's others. There's even a couple more I wrote down just in case I forgot some other stuff. So there's, stuff. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Plenty.
Yeah. So I'm super stoked. So I want to go ahead and get started with this game. The first thing I'm going to do is pull at random a story premise from this stocking hat. As much as Christian loves this, here we go. Oh, here we go. Now, this is one where you sent this. I was like, there's got to be something crazy going on here. Ronnie James Dio serving you Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, that one was interesting. So this was the last show of the tour that had Dio, Anthrax, and the band Love Hate. And everybody's always happy the last day of the tour. They're relieved it's over. The traveling is over, the intense schedule and the performing every night and all that. And everybody was cool. So I found out that I just got a random phone. This is what happened back then. You just got a random phone call at the house, and somebody from the station said, they're closing a pizza parlor down, and we're going to have all the bands there and everybody from the labels and people from the staff that want to go. You want to go? I'm like, free pizza and hanging out with people. Yes, I'm so in, and watching the games, the football games and stuff. So there's a lot of people. There's like 30 or 40 people, probably random, everybody was there. And I just eating pizza and just talking with whoever was there. We're just hanging, like normal hanging and watching the games.
Yeah.
And I just struck up a conversation, and somebody caught wind that I was a Bears fan. Like, oh, you're a Bears fan, huh? Just joking. I'm like, yeah, I am. And he goes, well, I'm a Giants fan. And I guess we're both in Dallas.
Yeah.
So that probably doesn't work out real well, but let's just keep that on the down low, maybe. And I'm eating pizza. How's the pizza? It's pretty good. I mean, it's actually really good. So considering it's Dallas and not Chicago, so I was just making cutting jabs a little bit. He's like, "You need anything else to drink?" I'm like, "Well, do you have Dr. Pepper?" He's like, "Yeah, sure. I'm sure that. Yeah, let me go check."
Do they have Dr. Pepper in Dallas, Texas?
It's lack of sleep again, not paying attention to the moment and the obvious. Yeah, do they have Dr. Pepper in Dallas? But yeah. Is South Fork near Dallas? Yeah. But anyway, so, I just have this hand reach over and put the Dr. Pepper down. Thanks a lot. And I turn around and it's Ronnie James Dio. And he's handing me a Dr. Pepper. It's like, and we were talking for like 5 minutes and I didn't even know it was, I didn't turn around, and not that I didn't acknowledge him. I was just talking with other people at the same time. We were all kind of talking, and I'm like, and he had a Giants shirt on, which was hilarious. And I'm like, I'm like, you're the guy. You're the Giants fan here. And then we started going, just going into football stuff. And we're just talking about football games, and the Bears and the Giants back in the 80s were a big deal. So, we were kind of playfully taking jabs at each other's teams. So,
wait, why did he give you the Dr. Like, somebody sent Ronnie James Dio to go get you a Dr. Pepper?
No, he was just talking with me, and he's like, how's the pizza? And, you want anything else to drink? And I said, yeah, I'll have a Dr. Pepper, I think. Yeah, they have Dr. Pepper here. So, yeah. And he's Ronnie James Dio brought me a Dr. Pepper. I didn't specifically say, hey, you go get my Dr. Pepper. I didn't know it was him until he actually physically reached over and put it down. And they're like, oh, thanks.
Oh, my.
Hey, Ronnie, how are you?
Were you just so invested into the game that you're like not realizing you're talking to a rock star?
It wasn't the game as much, because everybody around was. I mean, it was the rest of all the other bands too. I think pretty much, except for Anthrax wasn't there for some reason. But
I just picture Ronnie James Dio in the background, like, "Here's your Dr. Pepper," and you're like, "Oh, okay, thanks." And he's like, "No, seriously, here's your Dr. Pepper." Like, nobody's ever done this to him before. He's like, "What? No, like, here's your Dr. Pepper."
He's just, from everything if you watch documentaries about Ronnie James Dio, he's the most laid back, cool guy. He'll talk to every fan. He'll talk to everybody forever, and it was just so natural and cool and fun. And then we just hung out and watched the game. And then the show was amazing. We did a live broadcast with all three bands. We had them on. We did live concert back then way before it was a thing. We had satellite link broadcasts live as they happened of bands in concert, which was awesome. So yeah, that was fun. That was great fun.
So this was before the show,
Yeah, this was in the early afternoon,
Okay.
noonish when all the football games were on.
Because I was about to say, you hear like end of tour parties usually, after the concert, and I was like, oh, they just had a pizza party. And I was like, that seems pretty mild mannered for late '80s rock stars to just be like, all right, guys, last show, we're all done. Let's just have a pizza party.
And the weird thing too was there was a venue where this took place called the Bronco Bowl in Dallas, and it was like bowling and archery in the front, and then the concert venue in the back. I can't even make that. You can look it up. I'm not making this up.
That's crazy.
You can look this up in the back. It's like, oh, okay, we walk past the bowling alleys and get to this, horseshoe shaped theater kind of in there. It's like it's a weird, wild, surreal thing. It's like there's the bowling alley concert venue. Unfortunately it's gone now, but that was such a cool place to see a show, and weird.
That is awesome. So that story should be called Ronnie James Dr. Pepper.
Yes, absolutely.
That's perfect. I love that. Yeah, different time. Wow, getting served Dr. Pepper by Ronnie James Dio, and then being able to talk with. Did you guys get into any crazy stories that he had, or were you kind of just shooting the shit?
We were just shooting the shit about pretty much, he was taking jabs at the Bears, and I was taking jabs at the Giants, and just funny stuff. And yeah, everybody was laughing. And I think a lot of the people saw, go get me a Dr. Pepper. And I'm not looking at him because I was talking to other people and watching the game. And I'm sure a lot of people around the table were like, dude, what are you doing? But off he goes, and he comes back and brings me a Dr. Pepper. All right, that happened. Okay.
And at this time, it's kind of good to be a Bears fan. Like 85 just happened, like not fairly recently, probably when
they were still fairly good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that's
like the last 8 years or so. But yeah,
that's incredible. All right, next one. Oh, here we go. Tell us about the time you pissed off Dave Mustaine of Megadeth.
Oh no. Oh, Dave, dear Dave. So there was a heavy metal convention that was called the Concrete Foundations Forum in the late '80s, early '90s, where it was like in LA, and it was an LA hotel. It was different every year because they kept messing up the hotels. But
true rock stars,
rock star stuff.
Not being invited back.
You mean to tell me my credit card's on file and we're destroying this hotel room?
Yeah, a massive hotel by the airport somewhere. I don't even know. So we had a live broadcast there where we were just live on the air with whoever was walking by. And there were so many people just randomly walking by. And, it was Dave Mustaine and Marty Friedman, who I knew from other bands. And I love Marty Friedman. He's one of the coolest people on the planet.
Wow.
And Dave came by, and we're just talking and trying to be casual. That was the whole vibe of the thing. We're just talking to everybody. And I'm like, well, I heard you guys did a warm-up gig in Fresno for the upcoming tour. How did that go? That sounds like it was a pretty good time. He goes, what are you, high? And that's literally how he responded. And I'm going, okay, somebody didn't have coffee. So, and I said, well, what does it feel like to, get ready for a big tour, and it's kind of exciting. And now you've got some new guns. They had Marty Friedman and a new drummer, Nick Menza. And it was, I'm like, this is going to be the album's great. And I'm saying all these nice things about him.
Yeah.
And he's just antagonistic and attacking me. And I'm going, why are you attacking me?
Why are you so
what
mean?
Did I? And I said, and then I also, the thing that got me when I really turned a corner was, I said, and you guys are on our like whatever it was. I don't remember the exact number, but like number 3 on our top 50 list of the week. And he was like, paper and numbers mean nothing to me.
Oh my God. Okay. So he's
all right, it's on.
Like, okay, then I'm only going to insult you from here on out.
Oh,
like that's what he wants.
I'm like, it's on. I don't. And this is like one that's ever been weird. Well, 2 people were weird to me, but I'll get to that later. But yeah. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, you know what I noticed in this album? the guitars never sounded better since Marty started playing on this album.
Oh!
And this is live on the air national radio going on. And he was just like scowling at me. And he's like, "Grr," one of these Dave faces.
Yeah.
And then it continued after that. And one of the affiliate cities in Kansas City was backstage at the Megadeth show. And he was talking shit about me there. And I'm going, what did I do to this guy?
Well, so I have heard that he is that way, just kind of in general.
And just I don't know what I just said. How's the tour? I mean, my God. So, and then I kind of took it another level, and I said, oh, I got a new demo from the new. I got a new vocal demo from the new Megadeth single, and I had a baby crying, and and this is on my show, and it's going over the air and stuff. And
that is perfect.
The final part of that was it was the Clash of the Titans tour, where Slayer, Megadeth, Anthrax, and Alice in Chains.
Nice.
And that was coming to town. So I personally requested that Dave Mustaine not be on my show, and that Marty and Nick were on my show, because I loved Marty anyway. So
yeah,
we had a great time and had a fun interview and stuff. And backstage at Clash of the Titans, we were all hanging out. It was another weird sub moment where we were all shooting hoops. It was Anthrax, Slayer, and a few radio people were just shooting hoops in the background, getting ready for the show.
Right.
And Dave is in full gear with his, bullet belt and the jeans and the angry scowl and the whole thing. And everybody's like, Dave, how's it going? Let's shoot some hoops. Come on. And he's like, and he didn't say anything. He just went, and he walked off. And Anthrax like, that's Dave for you. What are you going to do?
So they know that he's like that.
Everybody was, a Slayer was like, Dave.
Yeah.
That was Dave. So yeah. And the only other sub story of that was later on they were touring with Judas Priest, and I was talking to Marty after the show, and he's like, you know what? Come on the bus. Me and Nick, we'll hang and stuff. And he's like, oh, Dave's up there. Maybe not.
What is the problem that he has?
I don't know.
So the band members are aware that he's got a problem with you.
Some invented problem in his head. I asked him how the tour was going, and he had a warm-up show in Fresno, and then you guys are doing really well on the chart. That's all I said. I didn't go, Dave, you suck. I mean, I said how great the album was. I was a big fan, and I told him what songs
you thought you said, how's the tour? But what you actually said was, I slept with your mother last night.
Yeah.
And that's where, like,
Hanger 18, huh? Is that based on your maturity age? You fucking bitch.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know. I didn't know I pissed in your cornflakes, but I guess somebody did that day.
Hey, somebody has to.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was one of the ones that stood out in a weird way, that took shape and kept going for some reason.
Just an eternal beef with Dave Mustaine.
Yeah, and the program director at the time was like, okay, you can cut it out now. I'm like, all right, I'll drop it, but and I didn't drop it.
We need to find out if he still has this disdain for you.
Disdain with Dave Mustaine. That should be the title of this episode. Clamp it. Oh my God.
He's mellowed a little over the years because he's not as wild as he was back then, but not much, I don't think.
Well, I heard that
surly.
Him and I've heard similar things about him and Sebastian Bach. I've heard both of them are kind of like, what? Why do you get? And Gene Simmons, I've heard too.
Well, Gene, I can attest to both of those guys. Sebastian Bach, we met them I met those guys on the first tour. They were opening for Bon Jovi of all things, and they were just so
hated.
Well, probably.
I'm sure they always hated that.
They always wanted to be heavier because they opened for Pantera, or no, Pantera opened for them, and they were trying to compete with them, which is kind of an odd thing. But that's a whole other thing. But Sebastian was cool, and everybody was fine. And I have a picture of him somewhere with we're all just in the group photo, and there's a bumper sticker on his head. So it was just odd. It's Sebastian Bach.
I dig
and
that.
Gene Simmons, I think we alluded to in the first show, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, Gene, there's a love-hate thing with Gene Simmons. I love Gene Simmons. He's, he puts it right out there. This is who I am.
Yeah.
So what?
He's more of a businessman at this point, I feel.
Oh, yeah. for sure.
Like, they sell like Kiss coffins now.
Well, yeah, there's Kiss everything.
From the kiss to the grave. That's what I always say.
That's true.
You've never said that.
Well, you don't know this. It's not like we have recorded history of our conversations. All right, let's see what's the next phrase.
You should put a wild card in there, by the way, because I have another additional story if you're interested.
All right, let's see. Pull another story from the stocking cap here, and it actually says wild card. Hey, who would have thought? Oh, how did you know?
The doggone timing.
This is another one of those tales of weirdness that you just get a phone call and this just happened out of nowhere and you don't expect it. Around the same time, actually the next year was 91, Iron Maiden was touring with Anthrax, and I had flown out to, I saw him in Dallas, I flew out to Long Beach to see him, and then they were playing in Bakersfield, so it's like I was visiting the affiliate in Fresno, California, so Bakersfield's not that far. I'm going, all right, I go see him again. I'll go see him every night, I don't care.
Yeah.
So went to see him, and the record label guy, Michael J. Schnapp. I love him. I love his name. And
I love his alcohol, Schnapp.
Yes. Yes. And he said, hey, dude, do you want to go sing a song with Maiden? And I'm like, shut up.
What?
No, what? Cut it out. And he's like, no, there's a family that was there who was part of the record label somehow. And I don't know who they were, but it was just some little family, like a wife, husband, and 2 little kids, and me.
Yeah.
And then during Heaven Can Wait, Heaven Can Wait. And then we ran up there, sang the chorus with Iron Maiden next to them. And then we were ushered off, and I was like, that was the weirdest, coolest thing ever.
So you just happened to get up on stage with Judas Priest, just like
Iron Maiden? Yeah.
Or Iron Maiden. I mean. That's insane.
It was one of those, like, we were just hanging watching the show, and the record guy's like, you want to go sing with Iron Maiden? No, I would decline politely. Thank you.
Hard pass,
Do you know Heaven Can Wait? Yes, I do. Go. Let me go. Okay.
Yeah.
I know one of their most popular songs.
Yeah, sure.
That's crazy.
The one that everybody sings along to? Okay, sure.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty crazy. I'm so glad I pulled that out of the cap.
Yeah.
That's kismet.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
We never looked up if that's a German word or not.
Yeah, which, by the way, let's look up. Where's our producer? Look that up. See if that's German.
I'm typing.
Nope, it isn't. All right.
That would require me to be able to spell kismet.
He just spells it kismet.
It just brings up things about Gene Simmons.
Yeah, speaking of him being a businessman, it's just Gene Simmons breath mints.
It's coming up with slogans. Yeah. How can we make Kiss a thing?
Oh my God, that is so great.
But while you're pulling, I own 2 pieces of Paul Stanley's art.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you have them on hand?
I don't have them with me because they're huge, but
oh, okay.
Yeah, I can't pan around to go to the other room because it's got connected. But yeah, one was
send
that to us. We'll put them in.
I got to do that. Yeah, and he was very nice as well and wrote us a personalized letter while we met him and got the art, which was another cool thing. But anyway, a side story.
Yeah.
But go ahead, please.
Yeah, we'll
put
that
card on a wild card.
There you go, double wild card action. You can't lay down 2 wild cards in a row, just like you can't lay down add 4 to a skip. You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
What is the weirdest way that you've ever seen somebody win concert tickets? Specifically, it says to the Scorpions.
Yeah, the album was called Crazy World, and it seems like all the weirdness comes out of California. So Fresno again. We went to
Keep It Weird, baby.
Flew out to the affiliate to do a bunch of promotional stuff and did a weird interview with Trickster, which is just strangeness and funniness. And then the Scorpions, we had a contest to win something like front row tickets and passes or something. And okay, let's do the craziest stuff. So somebody painted the side of their semi-truck trailer Z-Rock, and our one of our slogans back then was "We've got the biggest balls of them all." So they painted that all over their truck, which is very cool.
That's awesome.
Some girl ate a can of dog food in front of us, which was interesting.
God.
And it was the smelly, wet kind, so it was really rough.
Rough. I see what you did there.
Ooh, 2 girls made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches out of each other, which was very strange.
That sounds
very
hot.
Strange. It wasn't.
It was not at all.
It was not. It was not.
Have you seen 2 girls, 1 cup?
1 peanut butter cup. Oh, okay.
Oh no. 1 peanut butter cup, one Hershey's Kiss. Reese's Pieces.
I'm gonna eat dinner after this, guys. Let's move away from the two girls.
Let me go ahead and phone home real quick because I am done with this conversation.
Okay, so curling my mind. Right. Okay, the guy that won. Out of all of those, I had some good candidates, and there were a couple of there were guys dressed as like they weren't dressed as women, like good-looking women. They were dressed as like bosom buddies, Tom Hanks era women. So with silly wigs and stuff, and clown noses. So they were just silly. They could have won, but the guy that won, he just walked up. He was in normal, just concert t-shirt and jeans, and walked up with a glass of water. And I'm like, okay, what are you going to do? And he took out his glass eye, put it in the cup of water, and drank it, and then spit out the eye and put it back in his head. And I'm like, okay, he wins. That's it. He won.
And this is back in the day, so it's not like a nice fake eye, right?
No, it was what you would expect it to be, and it was just, yeah, you're the winner. You definitely won.
Actually, it was just a jawbreaker with an iris jaw.
Did it make a sound when it popped out?
It did a little, and then it was clinking in the glass on top of that. So it was just like the whole sound was just unnerving yet strangely fascinating at the same time.
That is excellent.
Were these for like good seats or just like get in concert?
Oh no, it was like front row and passes and stuff. It was like really good stuff. Yeah, and I think they got to meet the Scorpions too.
Oh, there you go. I'd pull out my real eye.
Yeah. I met Klaus and Rudolph Schenker. They were very cool. It was quick, but because I had to usher in a ton of people to meet them, but they're cool. But yeah, and then the guy with the eye met him too.
You kind of alluded to in the question of like, were there other cool radio contests that you did? Because like, again, we talked about last time you were on, like at this time, radio is it.
It was king.
It is everywhere. And like calling in to get tickets or like anything like that. Were there on the other cool prize things?
Yeah, I used to have to come up with contests on my own, and the record label would say something like, okay, what's your budget? Or I'd say, what's your budget? And they'll say, oh, we got about $1,500. I'm like, oh, I could easily do that. I said, can you do some like 10 autograph posters, and let's do something else. And they were always good with that. The one was a band called Sacred Reich, and they had an album called The American Way. So I thought, okay, baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and Sacred Reich was the name of the contest. The qualifiers, 10 qualifiers, each got a signed poster no matter what. And one of those I drew from a hat, as you can tell. And they won a trip to Atlanta to see Sacred Reich, but they also got to see the Atlanta Braves and the Cubs play.
Whoa, no shit.
Yeah, and that was the baseball part, and then the hot dogs part. We went to some strange cafeteria buffet, which had hot dogs and apple pie.
Local Kirkland, and
and the band came with too, and they ate at the cafeteria with us, and
that's really badass.
Yeah, and we saw the Cubs and Braves in the old Fulton County Stadium, and then went to this concert in this little venue, and they were great. I love Sacred Reich anyway, one of my favorites. So yeah, that was one of the weirdest, coolest ones that I just came up with out of nowhere. And they were like, we love it. Let's do it. And we'll fly you out. Okay, done. Let's do it.
That's incredible. Actually, I have a question real fast because it seems like you saw or interacted with Anthrax a lot. Is that one of your top favorites?
Oh yeah. Bands? I love Anthrax. They're great. Yeah.
More musically or more personally?
Both, really. I mean, love the guys. I mentioned that I had John Bush at my house, who eventually became a member of Anthrax for a while at my house for a barbecue. So yeah, I had Mexican food with Frank and Joey, Frank Bello and Joey Belladonna, because they just wanted to hang and have Mexican food. I'm like, I know this great place, let's go. And just And Joey was talking about acting, oddly enough, and it's funny because I think he really wanted to get into it. So then they eventually were on Married with Children for that one episode.
Right?
Yeah. And I think he wanted to do some acting, but and he did his own solo thing. But yeah, so there you go. Yeah, I love Anthrax. Anything they do is fine by me.
You know what other rock star got into acting, which was very surprising, was Sebastian Bach. Matter of fact.
Yeah, a lot of them dip their toes into acting. Sebastian did that. Gene Simmons was in some movies. Ozzy
where Sebastian Bach made his longest premiering debut?
No.
A little show called Gilmore Girls.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I know. And then he also did some kind of weird EDM track with someone.
Yeah.
And it was, I remember that too. It didn't fit real
Probably
well.
Skrillex.
But it was, no, it wasn't Skrillex. I don't know who it was, but it was, I don't remember. But anyway, I could look it up.
Anyways,
producer, get on
Where's
that.
our producer? God damn it, dude. I keep telling this guy. He just keeps not showing up.
Well, we don't pay him.
And he's not wearing the proper head attire, so I'm not impressed.
Well, he's probably mad because I stole his stocking cap.
It happens. It happens. Stocking cap theft is a thing.
Yes, it is. And Stanley Cup situations are things. Tell me about your Stanley Cup situation.
Yeah. So this is just kind of the story of my life. It's just weird stuff, cool stuff happens, and I embrace it and go, let's do this.
Having a landline is the best thing you ever did.
Yeah.
You got phone calls.
$9.99 a month to AT&T.
Yeah. Yeah. And the advent of emails even better. So back in 2010, when the Chicago Blackhawks were actually a good hockey team.
Very good team.
Yeah. And they had their renaissance and really just were amazing. We went to see game 1 at home and it was just deafening loud. So that was so cool to see that. And then after they had won, United Airlines is there at the United Center is where they play their home games. So they're a big sponsor and everything. So they took the Stanley Cup to United Airlines reservations, and my wife works for them. So they had an invite thing where you got to go take a picture with it.
Oh,
nice.
With the Stanley Cup. So everybody stood, politely, and it's like smiling and the whole big thing. And they wore Hawks hats and shirts and blah, blah, blah. So in we go. And by the time we got there, whoever was attending to the Stanley Cup walked out to get a drink or who knows what they did, talk to someone. And I'm like, I'm never going to get this chance again. Let's do this, to my wife. And she's like, what are you doing? And the photographer was there and I just draped my arms all over it.
Yes.
And she put her hands on it. And I'm thinking, that was so cool. And that was just the most fun thing. And it was just real quick. It was just like, jumping on it in a photo op. And it was just something that normal people don't get to do unless you win the thing.
The guy comes back who's in charge of the line. It's on the floor, broken into pieces. He's like, it was like that right as you left. Actually, it just like disintegrated.
I don't know what happened.
The NHL has all this money and he can't buy a nicer tournament cup.
You mean Mr. Stanley can't buy a better cup?
And then because this is the way we roll, that night we drove down to St. Louis to see Judas Priest and Whitesnake in concert, and we bought our own suite because that's how we roll. It was
hell yeah.
Back then it was like only like $700 for a suite, which was like stupid cheap.
That is, yeah.
And I'm like, why would we buy scalper tickets if we could buy a suite and then they feed us? And they gave us so much food.
That's incredible.
And they were like, here's a dolly, and take some, and they had these like
Dolly Parton was there.
No. Dolly. That would have been a show.
That would have been crazy.
That would have been a show.
So we couldn't drink because we were driving home, and they give us all the beer and all the drinks, and we're loading up our car with all the stuff that we do for a suite. So we had all this food and drink forever.
Yeah.
After that, it was great. That was fun. But anyway, fun day.
I love the quote of what my wife and Damien's wife say probably all the time as well of, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah, your wife doing that with the Stanley Cup. You're like, just wait.
When I have this big dopey smile on my face going, she's like, uh-oh, you're going to do something weird. What are you doing? What?
I thought the Stanley Cup craziness started not until 2023.
What happened in 23?
Yeah, That was a very poor joke about the.
Come on.
I know.
Come on.
The Stanley Cup mug things that people go wild about. Yeah.
Well,
sad trombone.
Swing and a miss. That is one of the major swing and misses on this podcast as a whole, actually.
I swing and miss so much. I swing and miss so much I could play for the White Sox.
Oh! I just
Too
love.
soon?
I was looking at Christian's eyes. He had like the 1,000-yard stare. He just he couldn't believe how bad he.
I was trying to see if we had the sad trombone noise. No, we only have a happy noises on our clipboard.
There you go. Yeah, get the voiceover. Got to do it.
Yeah.
I'll make my own laughs.
Oh my God! What was that you said, Mike, about being unhinged? I think we've reached it.
Oh yeah, I reached unhinged in '88. So
By the way, I am if you think that our producer is not going to clip Christian's face while he just did that and make that the thumbnail of this episode.
I see a new meme.
Plus me next to you with my beet red sunburned face, and Mike's little. Before he started, he was looking over to the right, making a silly face. That's going to be the whole thumbnail.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is insane. All right, what else we got in here? Go back to the stocking cap full of goodies here.
And after this one, if you want an Applebee's story from yesterday, I will tell you that too.
Oh hell yeah, we love Applebee's.
I will always be for an Applebee's story.
Yeah, we are perfectly white trash enough to hear about that stuff. Let me tell you, love some Applebee's. This one, ooh, that smell! Can't you smell that smell? No, sorry. It says interview with Lenny from Motorhead.
Oh, Lemmy, yeah, that was part of the going back to that Concrete Foundations Forum convention, and this is just rock stars and lots of just people walking by. It was like an airport terminal. People were just walking by constantly, and Lemmy lived in L.A., so Lemmy just walked by and sat down, and we were just talking, and it wasn't about anything in particular. I was so out of it because the guy who was the 6 to 10 guy that was the DJ on the air before me, I was rooming with him, and he had a young lady with him all night, and I couldn't get back into my room, so I had no sleep.
Oh no!
Yeah,
sock on the doorknob.
You shouldn't have wasted all that money on that suite.
Yeah, and I was just like knock knock, and he wouldn't answer till like 4 a.m. and we had to be on the air, which was LA time, like something stupid like 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I was like, so. Lemmy walks by and he just sat down. We just started talking, and some of the other guys were asking him the usual stuff. And I was just like, so what do you think of her? Is she hot? And we're just like rating women walking by and stupid stuff. And,
the best male pastime.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was pretty much it. And interspersed, asking him about the days with Jimi Hendrix and how that was. And,
were they pretty close?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's well documented out there, but talking about stories when he was in Hawkwind but not like, so what was it like this? And it just kind of happened. And it was just it just became cool. And then we were just watching women walk by and say, is she more your thing? Or she's kind of blondish. Is that okay? And he's like, it was just in between stories, just, she's nice. It's just so weird, but it happened. So,
well, you learned your lesson from the Dave Mustaine thing. You did not ask him about how the warm-up gig went.
No.
Never again.
Did not. Yeah. And my only regret of all of that is I've only seen Motorhead once, which is a shame. I should have seen him way more than that. But
I never got to see him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love Lemmy.
I don't want to steal Damien's thunder in case there's more.
But
you were talking about this convention. Did you only do this 1 year, or was this did you do it multiple years?
I went 3 straight years. I went 89, 90, and 91.
Nice.
And so you just kind of sat around. Were you just like, hey, Lemmy, come here. Let me ask you questions.
Come hither, Lemmy.
No, I think he just actually came and sat down and joined us.
Yeah.
I don't think we summoned him. People saw our booth, and a lot of people knew who we were anyway, so they would just come over. So there's all kinds of bands that were popping. They just pop by, and we didn't really have to do a lot of summoning. And Lemmy probably thought, hey, this, because I'm not sure if he knew who we were. I'm not 100%, but he thought, hey, it's a radio show. It's live. I'll just sit down and hang with him.
He sees your booth and he goes, hey, it's the Ace of Paines.
Yeah.
The Ace of Paines.
Oh.
Wah, wah. So I guess
put in the laugh track for me now. You don't.
I have control of this podcast. But
he gets an iota of power and takes control.
I'm next to drop the ball officially, so I'll have my wah-wah soon.
Yes.
So what was the point of this convention? Like, it's weird to think of like
what is the point of this?
No, like honestly, I'm thinking of like conventions I've been to. It's like, like I work in tech, so it's like, vendors trying to sell you the newest AI thing you don't want, but like,
yeah,
I can't imagine that was like for rock stars. Like, here, Fender guitar.
Ooh,
yeah, it was just they had like these breakout sessions where we talk about the business side of things, which I never went to except for one because I was invited to be on a panel, and that was okay. And I just went to hang and just random thoughts. Sitting on the floor in a room with a bunch of people, and I was having pizza with Lizzie Borden, and we're just talking about stuff because he lived in LA. So just eating pizza with Lizzie Borden. That's just a weird little side story.
Yeah.
Did you make him get you a Dr. Pepper?
I did not.
We just shared really good with this pizza, Lizzie.
Yeah, everybody was
nice,
very
cold Dr. Pepper. And then Ronnie James Dio comes out. He's like, "Oh."
Yeah, so it sounds like my
slut.
It sounds like my only function for doing this was for soft drinks, and it was not.
And pizza.
It was a perk.
And pizza. But yeah, it was just a weird, and they had live performances, and record label people had these their own specific things. Like this one thing where they invited, there was like, I had three options. I could go see the Scorpions, which I had already seen that tour, so I'm like, okay, I've already seen them, so no big deal. It was watch the Arsenio show live. I'm like, big no, I don't want that. Whoop, whoop. Not interested. Or
what? Come on.
Go to a classic Italian restaurant with the the whole white table and things, and watch Sacred Reich and Helmet play, and then going, yeah, I want that one.
Yeah.
And we had nice pasta dinner.
Pizza?
There was, but we just took the pasta, and they took us in a school bus there and back, which was weird.
I kind of like that, actually.
Yeah, so that was it was a great convention of weirdness and a good time, and everybody was just being themselves or more themselves than they should have been in rec rooms and the whole thing. But yeah.
No, yeah, that sounds amazing. Do you know if they still do this kind of thing?
No, once alternative started, that they kind of fizzled out real quick. I mean, you can't have a Concrete Foundations forum featuring hard rock and metal bands when, Puddle of Mud and all that stuff was, becoming big. Limp Bizkit, even before that with the alternative stuff, Smashing Pumpkins doesn't exactly scream heavy metal, so
no,
that's true. But I will say I'm proud of this. Being a metalhead, metal is really coming back in a big way lately. Like the last 5 years, there's been some just incredible resurrection of metal. So we're in a new era, which is actually, I wonder if podcasts are now going to do what radio shows did back then with metal, which is like, the Headbangers Ball type of interviews with them. Yeah,
and if anybody's interested in having me host anything, I am available because I should be on the air somewhere doing a metal thing. One more quick thing about that Foundations Forum thing, and then I'll wrap that up because I know we got to move on to stuff. But a good friend, a record label person, a friend of mine, she said, hey, do you want to go meet Ricky Rackman? And, I think it'd be cool for you guys to meet. You got a lot in common. I'm like, oh, sure, yeah, I'll go meet Ricky. And went to him, and he was, this is back in Headbangers Ball, the prime era of Headbangers Ball, and he was just an ass. He just was like, who cares, kind of attitude.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I
nice
can't wait to get
you.
to that point with this podcast.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Great, yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, is Dave Mustaine here? Maybe you two guys should meet.
Oh, he told him about you. That's what it was.
It could have been.
Damn.
Word of mouth, baby.
Yeah. So
that's
Ricky
funny.
Rackman. Yeah.
Well, that sucks. There's a lot of assholes in the metal scene, which
there are, I guess. Yeah. Luckily, I only ran into a couple of them.
Yeah. Oh, that's just the tag of my hat. Hold on.
Oh, did I tease Applebee's? I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done
tease
that.
Applebee's.
Okay, so yesterday my wife and I went to Applebee's. This wasn't a rock star story, so don't get your hopes up.
That's all right. It's a boneless wings story, and I'm.
It was that we had gift cards, so we were going. Okay, we're eating for free at Applebee's.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And went in there, and she said, we had a bad experience at that one before, where the front of house host was surly, and they only had a couple people on staff, and the bartender's like running food. It was just what? What did you say?
Was it Dave?
Was it Mustaine?
Yeah. Here's your 2 for $25.
Did you just ask me if we have boneless wings?
He wouldn't have said that much. He would have just scowled and gritted his teeth and went, Dave.
What even is the point of you asking me that?
And it was the same woman who was there at the front of house, and I'm like, oh, this can't be happening.
No
and
way.
She goes, okay, table for 2. Can I have your name, please? And I said, Mike. And she goes, okay, spell it. I can't even. And I said, M-I. She goes, okay, M. And she's writing it down. I. And I said, K-E. And K-E. And then I looked later, and it said M-I-C-K-E. I can't. I just can't. So she said 15 minutes. And then the other 40 people that walked in, she said the exact same thing too. 15 minutes.
Oh, that's
Meanwhile,
perfect.
we sat there for a half an hour, and we're like, there's something weird. No, this is not happening. So yeah, my new name is spelled my name is now newly spelled M-I-C-K-E for future reference.
Mickey Paine.
Mickey Paine. Yeah, doesn't have a good ring.
I don't like that. Cut that. I don't want to say that.
Yeah.
I regret it already. Are you still going to shows pretty regularly, concerts?
And I haven't been in a little bit, but yeah, I'd love to see a show coming around if it's anything, worth seeing. So yeah, there's a lot of cool little theaters around here that have some of the better shows. A couple of years back, we saw Crocus of all things, and they only had like 4 U.S. dates.
Nice.
And it's one of the bucket list things. Saw Striper and Firehouse of all things, which was fun. Yeah,
that's a throwback.
Yeah,
dude, that was recently.
No, a few years back. Yeah,
okay.
A few years ago.
You're in a perfect spot because no matter what, every band's going to come to Chicago. Yeah. Which is really nice. Like, me and Damien were just talking about, like, I'm in Nebraska, so I'm very lucky if a band ever comes. And for once, a band's coming to Nebraska, but not LA.
Yep.
And Damien was surly about it.
Very. I was the waitress at Applebee's about it. That's for sure.
Can you spell that?
M-Y-K-I.
I looked over at my wife, and I should have said P-S-Q-Z, and the Q is silent.
Yes.
No.
I fucking love it. All right, I got this last one here.
All right.
This one really, I'm very curious about.
Okay.
Tell us how you pissed off the guests on a TV talk show.
Oh, yeah.
I have to hear about this.
That's a good. So they used to tape this talk show called The Jenny Jones Show in the 90s.
Yep.
And it was based here in Chicago. So, when I was bored, I worked nights back then. I worked all over the place. So when I'd have a day free, I would go downtown and just watch a taping. And some of them were crappy. It was like, oh, a makeover show, yay. And it's like 5 hours. And they're sitting there waiting for these people. Oh, yeah, you look great. Hooray. Great. I wasted my whole day. So this one was about wives dominating their husbands.
Ooh, hot.
And not like that. It was just like domineering, more like than dominating. It wasn't like,
gotcha.
Calm down, Damien. Jeez.
not
We're getting unhinged.
Dominating? What? Can tell me more.
Not safe for work. Did she have a stapler?
No office supplies were used in the taping of that show.
Call back to episode 1, to part 1, by the way.
Watch episode 1 first.
Yes.
And she was Jenny Jones was cool, and I don't know why, but we were just talking between breaks. It was just one of those things, and we're just talking about, hey, do you like my boots? I'm like, yeah, your boots are great. Just because I guess I seem talkative, so I'm like, can I ask a question after the break? She's like, yeah, I'll come to you. So she came to me and she said, it looks like you've got a lot to say. And I said, oh, well, I've been waiting for this moment for a long time.
Oh shit.
And I said, the looks on your face.
Fuck Dave Mustaine.
Yeah, Dave Mustaine sucks. Yeah, I just get that in there everywhere I go.
So let me tell you.
So this guy, and I said, look at the looks on all these women's faces. They love this. They live for this. They love to stomp on these guys. Mm-hmm. Look at the guy in the brown sweater. I mean, my gosh,
that was white when he bought it.
Yeah. And they get a thrill out of this, and they live for this. And do what I do if that ever happens. Go, just get out. It's not worth it. And they were furious at me, and they went to, and it cut to break. And during the break, they stood up and started screaming at me. And so, do you know, what if you had kids? You would say, I'm like, you're proving my point.
Yeah. Wait. Okay. So when she came to you, all you said was, these women who are domineering to their husbands, get off on this, essentially.
Yeah. I would just say, hey, guys, get out. I would get out. And
got you.
And they lost their minds, and they started. A couple of them stood up and started screaming at me.
Was this during like the taping of the show?
Yeah.
Did they keep it in?
No,
they took it out. Oh, come on!
That seems like it would be great television.
Back then they were very, it wasn't like, during the break they didn't do any of that stuff. Really, it was very structured. So that would have been great TV, because they were just.
That is so awesome.
I'm like. And then they were like, the staff was like telling me, don't talk back to the guests. I'm like, they're screaming at me. I didn't say a word. I'm just sitting here.
I'm surprised you stuck around.
I'm surprised they didn't throw me out.
Yeah. You are a chaos agent. You must leave.
I started shit. It's true. I did. I started shit.
All the best people do. You have to. Look at Dave Mustaine.
It's okay to pick on Dave Mustaine. Is it? I don't know.
We're punching up. He's richer than me.
There you go.
Anyways, well, I had a blast with this story time. Yeah. Christian, do you have any last questions?
Yeah. I guess we kind of went into it. I don't know if you probably have an answer for this, but what has been your most favorite band to interview or best experience?
Oh, that's hard. Maybe Ozzy, because it was the first one, possibly.
Tune into part one.
Yeah, tune into part one. Really, Nico McBrain from Iron Maiden was fun. Anthrax guys were fun always. Slayer was weird. We just burped a lot and
nice.
Did Monty Python impressions. Yeah. So, but it was weird and fun in a weird way. Those are always good. All of them. Ozzy, because it was the first. Maybe I know that's kind of a cop out, but that was it. I think interviewing Queensryche backstage during their sound check was very cool.
I bet.
Jeff Tate was. We were just like, our mouths hit the floor because they were just, and this is sound check, and we're just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Back during their prime. So yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
No.
Yeah.
Do you have any last questions, Christian?
I guess, I don't know if you're allowed to say. It sounds like you're backstage quite a bit for a lot of different bands. Can you say some of the craziness that you saw behind, or was it just guys in like full leather just shooting hoops?
With their chains on.
Well, no one was in full leather shooting hoops, because that would be kind of a different kind of vibe, I'm guessing.
Stinky.
Yeah, it's very, very skin adhering, and I don't think that's very. No. Oddly enough, I there is some debauchery that happened on the buses, but I never stayed around for that because just wasn't doing that. So
just not a big partier.
No, it was just wasn't even that. It was just I wasn't, but I was the one that was nursing the Dr. Pepper, oddly enough.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it was better than TV or movies. It's just watching it all happen, because I wanted to be alert and around and aware of what was going on, instead of just forgetting it all and drinking a ton of beers or something stupid and going, I don't remember. But yeah, it was more fun watching it and just seeing and watching shows from side stage, like that weird venue, the Bronco Bowl, with the bowling alley and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was the one show I was watching Alice Cooper from side stage, just going, ooh, Alice Cooper. So cool.
Yeah.
and that, the backstage stuff was, it was interesting. And there's, naked women running around, and, the, let's see, the things of choice that you chose to do that were not necessarily above board, which is whatever, whoever, whatever, that's fine. But yeah.
How did you generally score the backstage? Was it because you were interviewing the bands ahead of time, or did they just come to you naturally because you were on the station?
All of the above.
Nice.
Everything. So sometimes I rarely had to ask at some point, but sometimes if you really wanted to do a specific thing, you would say, if it's okay. And again, you're professional about it and cool, and say, if it's not a big deal, and they're like, that's fine.
Yeah.
And you never abuse the privilege. Like, you never go, hey, you got to talk to me, and hey, let's hang. And, you don't act like a dick. So don't do that.
Yeah. Did you get to interview Alice Cooper?
No, I wish I could have. But cool. Later on, after I left, he hosted his own weekly show on Z-Rock, I believe, for a while. And so did Ted Nugent, which would have been interesting.
Ooh.
I suppose. Yeah.
You guys could have had some good banter.
Oh, God. All you have to do with Ted Nugent is say hi, and he'll talk for an hour and a half. So
yeah.
Yeah,
he's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that,
any last little stories to take us home?
I think one more maybe. There was a 7-Eleven on the way home from the station, and I'd stop in there, and this was like 3 or 4 in the morning, and it was always the same person working there, and I'd get whatever it was, a drink or something, or a donut or something stupid, and go to the register, and his name was LemLem, and he'd always greet me the same way. He would say, have a day.
Was he Filipino?
I don't know. I think so, but I'm not sure. And he would just say, have a day. And I'm like, oh.
Have a day, Mr. Paine.
But just super happy. And I thought, what kind of day? It doesn't matter. Just have a day.
Any day.
Have a day.
Yeah.
So have a day.
Everybody, listen to LemLem and have a day.
Have a day.
Bye.
Bye.